Hello and welcome to this wintry morning for this Wednesday, March 15th. And again, the headlines. We'll have one more very cold day today with highs in the 20s and lows back down into the low to mid teens tonight. Then we should see some snow or freezing rain, especially across the northern areas where I think from around Lakeview over towards Alma and Saginaw or towards Marlette. From there to the north and to the east, I think you could see maybe an inch or two of snow. We'll have to keep an eye on the temperature line to see where that mixture becomes more prevalent. But again, I think some of the northern areas could see some light accumulations. Again, not a big deal, but enough to maybe add a little bit more snow cover to parts of the area. And you can see over the next 6 to 10 days, and the 8 to 14 day outlook looks like a little bit below normal as far as temperatures and above normal precipitation. So don't put away the snow shovels. Although we don't see any big storms coming up anytime soon, we could certainly catch one around the corner at any time, so we'll keep an eye on the weather models here over the next couple of weeks. Right now, this morning, as of 6:30, we had a temperature of 14 degrees with winds in the teens to around 20 miles per hour, giving us a wind chill down to 0, so very cold out there, so bundle up if you're on your way into school or to work. If we look at the normals for the day, our normal high is 42, the normal low is 24. You can see back on this date in 1990, we had a high of 77 degrees. And in a couple of days, we run a stretch of about 5 days of records back in 2012. We'll talk about that more in the coming days. If we look at the warmest and coldest temperatures across the lower 48 for Tuesday, you can see the warm spot for the third day in a row, Thermal, California. They got up to 98 degrees. The cold spot, 11 below zero at Crane Lake and at St. James in Minnesota. If we look at the snowfall update here so far for the winter, you can see we're now up to 80.63% of the normal yearly total. So we're getting closer. We're up to 32.3 inches of snow. Again, the normal for a season is 40 inches. And with one decent snow event, we could certainly crack that amount here over the next several weeks. If we look at the snow cover, you can see back in December in the orange here, we had a pretty decent snowpack of around 6 to 8 inches for quite a few weeks. And then since then, it's been pretty tame out there. Not a lot in the way of snow cover or snowfall for that matter. And you can see the lowest temperatures we got down to about 4 above zero. That's the cold spot. So we haven't even hit zero yet this year. So really a fairly mild winter thanks to January and February. If we look at the next slide, hopefully we can get that to advance. You can see yesterday across the MAC area, temperatures very chilly, only in the low 20s across much of the area with lows well down into the teens. And you can see so far for the month of March, we're running 5.8 degrees below normal per day. So very cold March. So we have a cold December and a cold March, bookending a couple of very warm winter months, January and February. And if we look at the conditions around the area this morning, see temperatures once again very chilly in the low to mid teens. You can see the winter weather advisory for the thumb area. I think that'll be drop here probably within the next 4 to 6 hours. There's just not a lot of lake effect anymore across that area, so probably around 9 or 10. Don't be surprised to see those dropped across that area. If we look at the next screenshot, you can see the satellite view this morning, the big storm churning, throwing the clouds and the energy back towards the Great Lakes. Thus, that's why you see that winter weather advisory for the thumb, as some lake effect has been prevalent in that area, but again, it's dissipated quite a bit. Right now, the biggest bands of lake effect are coming right down towards the eastern side of Chicago, over towards Gary, Indiana, where there are some lake effect snow watches and warnings across many of those areas. And you can see on radar, you can just barely see it off to the west there, but most of the lake effect is across Lake Michigan down towards the Chicago area. Just a very few returns over here. So again, I think we'll see this area of advisories drop here fairly shortly. And if we look at the weather map for this morning, you can see the big storm now pushing well off to the northeast. It's going to take its influence away from the Great Lakes here over the next 6 hours or so. And then we're going to be watching some warm air trying to push this away with the system that'll eventually bring a mixture of precipitation into the Great Lakes. And you can see by tomorrow morning a big area of rain and snow with some embedded freezing rain across portions of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. And by Friday morning, that area pushes right into Michigan with, again, some rain or snow, possibly pockets of freezing rain. We're just going to have to watch the temperature profile. If you're in one of those low-lying interior areas of lower Michigan, then you may have a higher risk of seeing either snow or freezing rain. I think across southern lower Michigan, it'll be more of a mixture throughout the period. But again, as you get towards Lakeview, over towards Alma and Saginaw and Marlette, from there to the north, we could see some accumulations on the order of maybe an inch or two possibly So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And then as far as precipitation here, over the next 4 days, you can see about 1/3 of an inch from around the Muskegon to Saginaw area and many portions of the Thumb. So I think in some of these areas, the potential is for 1 to 3 inches of snow. But again, I think with the mixture, probably the best bet is maybe an inch or two up there. And again, mainly trace amounts to possibly a ½ inch or so across the southern part of the state. So there's not a big system, but certainly enough to maybe add a little bit to some of the snowfall totals. And you can see across northern Michigan, that's into the UP, that's where the best chance of accumulating snows of about 2 to 5 inches are likely up there. And again, I think for the mid-Michigan area to the Thumb, maybe a ½ inch to an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches locally. And again, much less as you get farther south. And on to Weather Watch this morning. Again, all the activity is now well off to the east across Pennsylvania and New York up into New England. Again, much of the precipitation across this area has already stopped with the exception of lake effect areas. And so look for those advisories, warnings, and stuff to be dropped here probably within the next 6 hours off to the east, as well as the advisories here across the Thumb area. Freeze advisories and freeze warnings across the Ohio Valley into the Missouri and Tennessee valleys off to the south. And thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day. And 73s to all.